My name's Chris from the YouTube channel Chris that you're on. I record looped and I stream on twitch.com or switch.tv/Chris Cannot Stream. If you can't tell by the name, I don't know how to stream very well, but I'm getting better. I'm going to walk through setting up Ableton Live Lite for guitar recording. And the reason I'm using Live Lite instead of full price is because it came free with my Focusrite Scarlet Solo. And I have a feeling people who buy that Focusrite interface or any of the other Focusrite stuff, because I think it comes with it, we'll probably be using Live Lite as well. And you don't necessarily need to buy full price Ableton, although it has a lot of cool stuff built into it. So I'm just going to show you this. If you want to move on to full price, feel free, but I didn't need to. Let me move myself out of the way here so we can look at the plugins. The amp that I use is Blue Cat's free amp and this SGA 1566 amp. I'll turn that off for now. So Blue Cat's free amp has 3 different amps. It has this Fender style, they have a Marshall, and then I think it's a PV or Mesa Boogie style. I don't use those others. I just use the Fender style just because that's what I'm used to. So I'll show you my just direct tone from my pedal board. And you know what this sounds like. I mean, it's thin sounding. That's why we need an amp modeler. So turning this on, it's already a world better. But it's still pretty thin. But this does a pretty good job of DSP of a Fender amp. But I add the SGA 1566 on top of that because it just adds a little bit more warmth. And you don't necessarily notice immediately. But if I take it away, there's a warmth component that goes away. So, like I said, I like adding that on the tail end of the Blue Cat, and that gives me a good amp tone that's on its way to being what my Little Princeton amp sounds like. And this takes pedals really well. So I do like ambient-y stuff. I want to be Andy Othling or what have you, but if you wanted to stop here, you could. Makes the pedals, you know, instead of sounding super thin, it widens that spectrum out and it sounds pretty good, rather than just going DI only. Ableton's built-in amp I think is okay, but or the Live Lite version at least. The full price versions are really good, but the Live Lite version is okay. It's not that great. This offers a little bit more flexibility, and these plugins are free, so check them out. But what do you have after your amp? It's a speaker, and I use Cabin's cabinet modeler, and it has a cool center or off center mic positioning feature, so you can go on the cone and then you can move it off. Well, if you turn it on, you can tell. Just like if you were moving your 57 on your amp, you can kind of EQ your amp this way. So this gives you some other characteristics that you can modify, whether if you want a small speaker with a punch character, or if you want to soften the speaker texture, that's how you do it. I like this a lot. So this is a natural sounding amplifier sound. And this is, like I said, already a really good place to stop. And you don't necessarily, like I said, I write ambient-y, flowy stuff, but I think this would work for any genre of music. It takes pedals really well. That's just my TS9, but if you had other pedals, this just sounds really good. I found, and this is all free. So if you're only able to buy a Focusrite Scarlet Solo, at least with the software that you get without an amp, if you just have your guitar, you can get some pretty good sounds. So where I take this next is adding an equalizer. So I use Melda Productions M Equalizer, and that just lets me have more control over the sound. So depending on the guitar, I may need to change the frequency response. And so just clean. You can tell that this will make a huge difference. So I would do that equalizer at the end of my SM57 if I was recording off my amp. But I would recommend putting an equalizer in at the end just so you can tune the sound a little bit more and get whatever you want. But, I mean, that's what an equalizer does, and I'm not going to go into how to use an equalizer. You just kind of have to play with that. There's a lot of tutorials online that you can look at. I would just recommend putting it at the end of the signal so you can modify the sound, but you can honestly put this anywhere you want. If you want to EQ your amp before it goes into the speaker, you can do that. If you want to EQ the first thing, you can do that as well. So there's a lot of flexibility. And this is, like I said, a good sound. But just to round it out, I use Melda's Reverb that they have built in, just to add that final volume component so that it feels like there's a space that you're playing into. And you can tweak the size and how much dry or wet signal you want. But with all these combined, you can get a really good sound. Those are the 5 components that I use for recording guitar, and I like the sounds that I get out of this. But there's no reason why you couldn't tweak this to play whatever genre you wanted. So these are all free. They're all on pluginsforfree.com, I think is what it is. Yeah, it should be pluginsforfree.com. If you Google Shattered Glass Audio or Blue Cat, you can find them, Cabin. It'll probably take you to that page, and you can set up Ableton Live Lite with all these plugins and get a lot more functionality out of it. So go and have fun. Hopefully a lot more people can record for free, and we'll get a lot more music out there. So have fun.